My name is Maikel Abspoel. My company is called Game and Work, and I'm building a platform and an app for indication of soft skills in games.
Okay, and
Yes.
What are you working on at the moment?
At the moment, I'm now building up the algorithm to recognize what kind of skills I can recognize in game, because I can't do them all. I have to focus on a few, so I focus now on communication skills, soft skills, because I think that's the main problem also now for a lot of companies, people, and in the education system also.
And why? When did you start, and why did you start doing this?
Why? Because 2 years ago I was sitting at home for also 2 years. I was sick. I had diabetes type 1 diagnosed, and I couldn't get out of the home. So I played a lot of games when I was sitting at home. And I did not the normal games that I did before, because before I already was a gamer, but not that online. So I went to a community, and I went to the game Ark Survival Evolved. I've played that, I think, 2,000 hours. You can see that on the on the Steam thing. Yeah, I played that a lot, and then I built up really a good connection with a lot of people online. I saw there was a lot of people that had a lot of potential also in the game, but also in the real world, because I heard a lot of stories of people that were, yeah, they had all their own reasons, but because why are you gaming? Yeah, some of them are doing it for fun, some of them to escape the real world, some other reasons. So when I was doing that, I saw, okay, I was sitting in the game, I thought, I see a lot of trouble also, I see also a lot of stress with people, and they try to relieve also stress and communicate also to me. At the end of the 2 years, I was kind of an HR manager, kind of the community. So I checked out if people were in the, do they fit in the community? Because we were pretty good in the game. I think we were the third or the fourth party that was pretty, yeah, you have tribes, and then you can go to kind of a ranking, but it's not a real ranking because there was no ranking, but there was kind of a, yeah, everyone knows our names. And so I was kind of saying, okay, yeah, you can come in, you can go or not. I was kind of the HR, and I thought, oh, why not doing this in the real world? Because I see the same thing as in companies. Because before that, I already had my company in the internet marketing and also in the music industry. And I saw the same kind of things going on in the game world. So I thought, okay, why not do it again in the real world? So that's how, why I think what I want to do with my company is I want to give everyone a fair chance, an equal chance to be part of the society. So you can call that social equality. I want to do this with gaming. And I think that's the way to go, because I think a lot of young people know games, play games, know how it works, but a lot of education systems, companies, they don't know how, and they don't know why. And I think the why is also what I have to do also. Why are we going to use games in that way instead of the normal things that people know?
Hi, I'm Jop Vermeer, and together with Arjen Miedema, we form BulletWhale Games.
And what are you doing?
Currently, we're working on a roguelike shooter, sort of mix between Dead Cells and Doom, and really want to focus on co-op there. So we want multiple players to play the game together and shoot enemies together.
And why do you like co-op games so much, and why do you develop co-op games?
So we like to bring people together and play games together with our friends. So we notice that we often play shooters, but not a lot of shooters have co-op anymore, and we really want to bring that back into the picture.
So my name is Vlad Zataloka. I am a founder and a game designer and a programmer and I can say producer in the company that is called Hoot Like an Owl Games.
Why is it called Hoot Like an Owl Games, Vlad?
There's a long story behind that I'm not gonna share now.
Right, what are you working on?
So we are currently working on a game called Riversiders, and that's a game about rafting down the river, camping in the wild, and friendship.
Right. And why do you want to make a game about that? What do you love about it?
Well, I can talk about why do we make these specific games or why do we make games in general. Okay, I actually want to talk about why we make games in general, but since you asked about that, I will
Whatever you want.
give a short answer to that as well. So, yes, rafting down the river, camping in the wild, and friendship is something that we love a lot, my friends and I, who are in the company with me. And yeah, so we want to share that experience. That's why we are making this particular game. And why we are making games in general? Well, I'll come from afar, as I always do. So I have a background in video games, obviously, but I also have background in live-action role-playing games and tabletop role-playing games. If you don't know what tabletop role-playing is, but you know what D&D is, then D&D is merely one tabletop role-playing game, and there are hundreds of them, even though it's the biggest one. And then live-action role-playing is kind of the same thing, but it's where you do the things, where you are the character instead of you describing your own character. So yeah, so I used to do that a lot and still do it sometimes. And I know a lot of people from, well, not a lot, but I know people from these three communities, and to my surprise, they are isolated communities. You sometimes meet people who are into both, like two of these three things, or even into all three things, but that's much less common than I would expect. I don't understand it really, why people think it's a different thing. It's different things, because for me it's basically the same thing. It's all just different shapes of what the game is, the nature of the game, and what is the nature of the game for me and why I make games is. So human mind is a thing, like, it's not very good at telling apart game from reality, right? Like, the reality is a game for me, and I think for everybody, but I that's how I see it, at least. Like, for me, it's very prominent, this fact. The reality is a game, anything can be a game, and the game can be more real than reality. I really, really disagree when people say, oh, wait, what are you doing? Are you playing your games? This is not real life. Well, it is real life if it's real life for me, so I think games might be more real to people than real life. And I also think that game is the best thing you can do with your life for one very simple reason. You only have one life, but you can have hundreds of games in your life. So playing games is the only way to feed hundreds of lives in your one life. So that's my dream, that's my idea of how life is, and that's what I want to share with people.
My name is Thomas Mazurel, and I am the founder of Gobbledygook Games.
And what do you do with Gobbledygook Games?
Well, you'd probably say a lot of lollygagging, but primarily video game development, if and when able. First of all, I named it Gobbledygook Games because all video game company names are basically nonsense and have no meaning, so I figured I'd just, go with that and put it in there. As for the games themselves, we're currently working on a game called Anti-Venture. And the basic concept of that is instead of being the hero who goes into a village to just rob it blind and never having any consequences thrown your way because of that, you're there to help a couple of these villagers defend their village from the encroaching plague of adventurers, as it were. But the reason as to why even went into game development to begin with goes a bit deeper than that. It's about 3.5 years back, I felt myself very much stuck in a rut, as in I didn't know where I was going to go with my life. Nothing that I worked on seemed to really work out or get me anywhere. And I knew that I was going to be stuck, most optimistically, the next year, working on projects that weren't really going to work for me, weren't really going to do anything for me, get me anywhere, earn me any kind of money or real repute. So that was one option. Or I could go ahead and do what I knew that I always wanted to do, and that was to make games. I knew that I at least had the beginning skills of that. I knew I had a lot to learn. I knew I wouldn't be able to do it alone. That's why I wanted to work together with others to do that. the sign you see there in the middle, that's Kyokushin. It's a form of karate, and it means ultimate truth and cooperation. And that means also truth to yourself and being able to also work together with others, which is why that's one of the cornerstones you see just there. That is one of the reasons. And the other is one of the last things that my grandfather told me before he passed, which was, wie niet waagt, wie niet wint, en de rest mag je zelf invullen. That is to say, nothing ventured, nothing gained, and you can fill in the rest yourself. And that is how I'm filling in my future. And that's why I make games.
Hi, I'm Tom from ProTom.
Is that what the company is called right now?
Yeah, it is ProTom as well as AmaTom and Tom Jongens. So there are 3 entities right now.
Tom Boys.
No, not Tom Boys. No.
Okay, what do you do, Tom Boys? Pro-Tom?
Currently, I'm investing heavily in hyper-casual mobile development to acquire cash flow, to acquire talent, in order to build larger and more sustainable IPs, more greater quality IPs.
And why do you do it like that?
Why do I do it like that? Well, in my opinion, there are a couple of ways an organization is structured or comes to be. And it's either in your college days, you meet your fellow designer, developer, or whatnot, and you match, there's a connection, a spark, and you decide to live on noodles for a couple of years and build this amazing IP and do it like that. But yes, since I'm working already and there's not a lot of college students interested in joining my company, I thought the quickest way was to create a short cycle of development, approach publishers, and go at it like that.
And why do you want to make games at all?
Why do I want to make games at all? Because I want to create feelings of great joy and devastation. I want to make my players cry or love me for the creations I create. I want to have them feel huge emotional experiences at the touch of their fingertips. And I think games is just one of the best ways to achieve that.
Yeah. So my name is Jeroen van Baar. I'm the owner of CVS-Gaming. CVS-Gaming stands for coole vette shit, because that's what we want to create. We want to be there for content creators and help them with creating awesome content. We provide them the tools, events, and in the future even games to create awesome content. So with content creators, we consider them streamers, influencers, athletes, and we provide them the user-friendly tools to create content, create awesome events that they have the opportunity to interact with their fans, their viewers, and the ultimate vision is that we create games and then correlate all the technical and events together in creating awesome games.
And why do you do what you do?
Because I think this is my vision, that all these 3 different kind of companies work together, and there's a lot of creativity there, which I think is limited when I was working for a boss. Even if I was working for a very cool company, I still had ambition to spread my wings, if we keep it in Red Bull terms, and reach out to do something else.
What do you like about spreading your wings and being on your own?
Being able to follow my passion, being able to test myself with new opportunities, learn a lot, challenge myself with all these new things that are coming with creating the company. I think that is, for me, the ambition to follow this vision.
Yeah, so my name is Ernst de Bruijn, and our company is Punchbutton Studios.
And what do you do at Punchbutton Studios?
Well, right now we're making a shoot 'em up, which takes place in a kind of an organic world that viruses are infecting, and it's your job to stop that from happening. And it's got a lot of old school influences and creative new spins on a classic concept. So.
And why did you start making games at all?
Well, for us, making games, we believe games have an unparalleled potential for bringing all kinds of different people together and share experiences, create new memories. Talk about it, engage with it, but everyone has their own way of approaching games and their own reason to play. But through the shared interest, a community can grow. Just think of a night of playing fighting games. I don't know if any of you do that, and you have invited just Joey. And you've invited your friends over, and one of them is Spike, and Spike is way into the competitive scene, and he's bragging all night because he's learned how to parry 59 of 95% of the time, so he will invalidate your character. But then Timmy comes, and he just picks the biggest dude that's possible and just pushes random buttons and beats him. At one point he's not even looking at the screen anymore. He's just taunting Spike over there, and the whole room is laughing. And it's about that, bringing people together, making new memories. I think that's the core of what we do.
I'm Pieter Soons. I'm co-founder of Tension Games, and I'm lead programmer, lead designer, graphic artist, very amateur.
And what does Tension Games do?
Tension Games, right now we're making a digital PvP guard game, pretty competitive.
And why?
Why? I was working for a big IT company, and by myself I made an economical driver app, and it was like a gamified app, and I made the backend, I made the front end design, the machine learning behind it, so basically everything. And we sold it to the first client, which we sold before we started making it. And that's so much more potential. We could have sold it to tens of other companies, but nobody did it. Basically, our whole company was super enthusiastic about this product, but nobody managed to do the marketing. So I thought, okay, I did everything myself, and if I would have done the marketing, even though I'm really bad at marketing, I would have still done a better job than with all these thousands of people around me. So I was okay, maybe I can start my own company then. And why a game? Well, because even though this was a game, I noticed that people were forced to use it and they didn't really love it. So a couple people loved it, but most people who used it were forced to use it. So when you make a game and people don't like it, they won't play it. So everyone who plays it really loves it.
What do you love about games?
So I'm very competitive. I love the excitement of becoming better at something that is objectively measured basically, and a constrained environment in which you can really just beat the crap out of your opponent.
Okay, my name is Jerry from Cinnabar Games. I am a game development company in the Netherlands that's currently made 2 games, Hunter Legacy and Tiny Space Program. And I make games that are management-based simulation games for mobile. And
why do you do what you do?
Why do I do what I do? Basically, the main reason is that it gives me excitement, it gives me energy, and a reason I want to continue doing what I'm doing is because I want to guide players to their inner wisdom, which basically means providing players a sense of decision making so that they can make the best choices in their life. That's why I focus on management simulation games as a genre and bringing that to as large audience as possible. And I hope to make a whole company behind it, making multiple games, making multiple IPs. So that's my main goal for right now, yeah.
Greetings, I'm Joris Roelofs from Greetings Games, and I have 3 goals in my life: to learn, to have fun, and to help others. And I couldn't see a better place to do that in the game industry, because it's so expansive, so open, and so much fun. And it's also a bit of a Stockholm syndrome, because there I'm obsessed with answering certain questions, most of which in the game industry, like how do you market games efficiently? How do you make money in the best way? So right now, in order to figure that out, I'm working on web games in a way that they should sell quite well, and also such that I can use a lot of assets. So, for instance, I'm working on a puzzle game that can also double as a golf game. And I'm also doing a lot of research to see, for instance, how I can make better interviews in order to find out more about my players.
Hi, I'm Daan Mulder from A Bunch of Hacks. A Bunch of Hacks is a worker cooperative for video game and software development.
And what do you work on?
Right now we're finishing Epicenium, that's our turn-based strategy game. It has some innovative mechanics and there's an environmental theme, and we're releasing it next month. We're also already working on our next title.
And why do you think you make games?
Because when I played games myself, I have this sense of adventure when I discover new experiences. And that's what I want to put in my games as well. I want to make them myself and bring that to the world.
Hi guys, I'm Käy Vriend. Currently I'm working in procedural design. I intend to make a online shooter game, PvP, where you visit historic areas in a casual manner.
All right, and why do you make games?
It's what I love doing. I love the idea of playing games and participating in a world that isn't really there, but still it is. And making those worlds feels to me like the ultimate freedom.